Welcome to the Dolomites. We've chosen to start our 12-day road trip across Europe here. After my first experience hiking in the mountains, I was absolutely blown away, and I decided that I want to travel and hike as many mountains as I can throughout my lifetime.
I literally feel like you're the top of the world. That's where we're going. Touristy little lookout.
I started off the trip with the place that I was most excited to visit, and the Dolomites definitely did not disappoint.
Wow.
This hike is definitely not recommended for anyone with a fear of heights, which one of us may have discovered on this hike.
He just walked. He was so scared.
The first hike was a short out and back, and it was only about 3.4 kilometers, so we continued on to another trail. This next trail is a loop that takes you around 3 peaks and is closer to 10 kilometers in length. The views were absolutely incredible throughout the entire 3-hour hike. This hike is definitely one of the more popular destinations in the Dolomites, but I can definitely see why. The distinctive 3 peaks make this trail stand out, but the other views this hike offers are just as incredible. So Christian's attempting to run up the whole mountain in 4 minutes. So we'll see if we can do it. You know, everyone else is struggling to walk. So we're approaching our 3rd hut, which is the final hut of this hike. I have not eaten since, I think, 8 a.m. this morning.
I'm looking forward to the car ride home.
Yeah, so I would like some food, and it'll probably still be about an hour that we have left. And then we have about an hour drive to the closest town. That is one of the cars. So our next stop is to grab something to eat, and I think we're about 45 minutes from the town that has a lot of different good restaurant options. So we're just gonna head there now and see what we can find, and then I guess do a late check-in at our bed and breakfast tonight. We just arrived to our second hike destination. We just realized that the only way to access it is by cable car, unless we do about an hour and a half hike there and back on top of our 10-kilometer hike. I think we're just going to take the cable car, which is 30 euros per person, so it's quite pricey, but I think it's worthwhile for the views that we're gonna get up there. And I don't want to tire us out too much just making it up to the top. Just to start the hike.
6 stars.
Oh, that looks really good.
Okay, we'll come back here and eat maybe. Once we're done the hike.
So we were on our way up to our hike that was about 10 kilometers. And then we stopped at a little hut on the way to grab some espresso. And the servers there asked where we're going. And when they heard that we were going to the other more popular spot, they directed us up to another mountain that I think's 40 minutes each way. So we're gonna add that onto our regular hike, and they said that the views are amazing and even better than the more popular commercialized spot. So already the views are incredible, and we still have a long way to go. already covered a decent amount of ground. That's the hut. We then stopped at one of the huts along the way to grab some food for lunch, where we got venison, tagliatelle, and stew with dumplings. The food and the views were amazing, but I also don't think you could go wrong stopping at any of the huts in the Dolomites. We continued along on our hike, which brought us to this very unique looking mountain range, as well as a beautiful view of the valley below. The one downside I will say is that this hike was actually very busy. Another unique thing about this hike is that there was a ping pong table down in the valley below where you could actually play. There was also a soccer post along with a very deflated soccer ball. So after spending 2 days hiking in the Dolomites, we are now on our way back to Venice, and we're just going to stop in some villages and explore along the way. But we do have a soccer game that we're going to make it back to tonight at 6:30 in Venice. So we don't have too long to explore today, but I feel like we did the Dolomites justice in the only 2 days that we had here. The hikes were both incredible. We're feeling a little bit sore today, but honestly not too bad. It took us quite some time to get to the game between the drive, a train, and then a ferry, but then we finally made it. It was a really cool experience as I've never watched a game outside of Canada before, and the fans get a lot more into it than they do at home. Unfortunately, the team that we were cheering for, Venezia FC, lost, but we still had a great time regardless. We then had an hour-and-a-half walk through Venice to get back to our train, where we then stopped for food, and that was the end of our stay in Italy. The next day, we were on the road first thing in the morning because we had a long drive to make it to our next country. I could not think of a better sponsor for today's video than Element. I've been taking Element for quite some time now, every single day. I first discovered it because I have low blood pressure and my doctors recommended to get more sodium in my diet. So that's where Element came in, because not only is it full of sodium and other electrolytes, but it tastes amazing, so I actually want to have it every day. It was definitely perfect to take on our trip with us because we were hiking and we were out in hot weather. I just find it helps to hydrate me so much better than just normal water on its own, and it helps give me more energy for my workouts. Most other electrolyte drinks I find don't have nearly as much sodium as Element, which I think has been the game changer for me. My personal favorite flavor is citrus, but you really can't go wrong with any of them. They all taste amazing. And Element is offering you a special deal, so you can try it too. If you click the link in the description or on the screen below, you will get a free sample pack with any purchase. Trust me when I say I absolutely love this product. I find it's hard to go a day without it now. Our next destination was another country with beautiful mountains to hike. It has beautiful sceneries, a very cute capital city, and lots of adventure-based activities. This country really just blew me away in every single way, and I just really fell in love with it. Welcome to Slovenia. So now we're on our way to Slovenia for the next 4 days. We did the past 4 days in Italy, and I think we did it justice, at least the areas that we visited. So now we have like a 2-hour drive, but the drive is beautiful. See mountains in the distance, and the highway's dead, so can't really complain there. So we decided to start our first day in Slovenia off with another hike,
and this one was in the Julian Alps. It was only about 5 kilometers and it was an out and back hike.
This is our first difficult rated hike. The other ones were all moderate.
Both the Dolomites were moderate.
Yeah. But it could be like moderate relative to the Dolomites. But
They
I'm not
weren't
sure.
difficult in terms of being dangerous. They were just long.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's stunning. So our first full day in Slovenia is almost finished. We're just headed to a restaurant right now near our hotel. But we started our day off very early this morning. We left, I think, around maybe 6 a.m. I guess. I think we left a little bit later than we wanted to, so we could make it to a hike right away. So we did a 5-kilometer hike all the way up a mountain, so a lot of elevation, but pretty short hike, and it was beautiful, very different than the Dolomites, but just stunning in its own way. And then after that, we stopped at a couple waterfalls, which were okay, nothing too impressive. And then we just stopped at a beach, but unfortunately, as soon as we got to the beach, the clouds came out, and then it started to rain a little bit. But it's like 4:30 anyway. We still have an hour and a half drive back to the hotel, so we're now just heading back, grab some dinner on the way, and probably have an early night tonight so we can get out on the road again tomorrow morning, first thing.
I'm sunburnt, tired, but it was good. It's a fun day.
I don't know if I'm sunburned. Oh, I forgot to mention, yeah, the Socha River. So the beach that we went to was along the Socha River, I guess.
Oh yeah, it was freezing.
Yeah, the water is beautiful and really refreshing. We actually just filled our water bottle up from there and drank from that. And yeah, I went in a little bit.
The next day, we made it to Lake Bled, which is a glacial lake fed by hot springs. And in the center of the lake, there is an island with a church on it, as well as a castle on a cliff overlooking the water.
No, Lake Bled was stunning. It exceeded my expectations. I did read some bad things about it being overcrowded and being kind of overrated, but I thought it was beautiful from every single angle walking around it. If you go early or evening, it's always going to be less busy, so we tend to wake up and leave very early in the morning so we can try to be one of the first ones to any destination and kind of get our top things over with in the morning, and then the rest of the day we're more relaxed and can pick kind of the less busy locations, which has been working well. Which had really nice, pretty water. It was very small though. And
It was cute. It was super
very
clear.
cute. Yeah, it was like nice green color. There was some fish that we could see.
What type of fish?
Brown trout. And then we continued on, made it to another lake to go hiking. There was a big climbing wall that was like straight up, and it looked really cool. We tried to climb it, very unsuccessfully. And then I think we both, I don't know, scratched against a bush or the wall. Like my leg was burning, and then a bunch of little like white bumps. And then shortly after that, I got stung by a bee on the arm, and now that's swelling up and sore, like all down my arm, which is lovely. We stopped in a town called, I think, Treviso. I believe that's the name, and it was so cute. It was my favorite town, I think, that we visited so far. Continued on back to the Socha River because I felt like we hadn't done it quite justice yet. So we went there and found a popular swimming area, which we didn't really do much swimming. It's freezing. But yeah, spent some time there. And then on our way back, we have quite a long drive, 2 hours back to Ljubljana. So we stopped at this really nice lake in Italy, I guess, because we crossed over the Italy border to get back, which is actually a quicker route somehow. And it was really cute, yeah. I wish we had found it earlier because they have like a little bar and a bunch of different rentals for kayaks and stand-up paddle boards, and they're much cheaper than if you were to try to do it at Socha. But we just went swimming there, which was actually quite warm and beautiful. Well, the one lake was warm, the smaller little one, and then there was a bigger one that was colder.
Our next stop was Piran, which is a beautiful town on the coast of Slovenia. We explored the town and went for a swim in the Adriatic Sea. This concluded our time in Slovenia, and then we were off to our next country. And our final destination of our 12-day Europe trip was Croatia. We had about a 15-minute walk with all of our luggage before we arrived at our apartment.
Oh, it's so cute.
We explored the streets with old houses, tiny alleys, and tons of different shops and restaurants. We ended up driving out to the countryside to visit a farm for dinner, and we ate at this restaurant where everything was homemade and sourced locally. And it featured homemade cheeses, a variety of meats, with home-baked bread and homemade olive oil. We also ate an amazing truffle pasta. This meal was definitely our favorite of the trip. We then rented bikes and took them along the shore.
There's a lot of thunder in the background.
Okay, yeah, it's gonna pour. Like, pour into the air. Okay, yeah, but
Clouds are moving in fast. Great for us. Might get nasty out here.
So today is our final day of the trip, and we got some nice, beautiful, sunny weather finally. So we decided to head an hour along the coast and find some nice beach areas to go to. I think they are going to be a little bit rocky, but hopefully beautiful and not too busy. but we will find out. We're just gonna see if we can grab some swim goggles so we can go underwater, see if there's any fish. And yeah, should be a nice final day before we get back to Canada. We decided to front load the trip with hikes and save the end of our trip for relaxing and recovering with lots of swimming in the ocean. This area is a nature park which includes 30 kilometers of rugged coastline where you can walk along and discover many different coves and beaches. The reserve is very diverse and is the perfect place for nature lovers as it is home to 600 plant species. The water was incredibly warm and clear, and it was really cool because we got to see all the different fish underwater. There was also a spot to go cliff jumping, which had a range of different heights, including one spot that was nearly 40 feet high.
I missed that.
And that concluded our final day of the trip. We were up first thing in the morning to make our way back to the airport because we had quite a long drive ahead of us. We made a stop in Italy to grab some coffee and breakfast. They didn't have much food, so we settled for pizza and pastries. And then we were off to the airport.